So, good afternoon or good evening, depending where you're watching from. Welcome to Vocation Café. The idea of Vocation Café is a promotion of vocation and basically conversation from the perspective as God is calling us in life. I had the chance already talked with sisters, with religious people, with the other oblates, with married couple, because everybody has a vocation. Today it's a special day because it's beyond that it's World Day of Consecrated Life. It's also the memorial feast of St. Bridget, who is the patron of Ireland. So I think it's very appropriate that we will move, as they say in Newfoundland, across the pond to the other side of Atlantic. So today I'll be talking with Father Dominik from Ireland, and actually, probably Ireland was one of the first after Canada missions that the Oblates took. I believe it was 1851 or something like that. And certainly the first non-French Oblate was Irish. So that's pretty interesting. So welcome, Father Dominik, and maybe just introduce yourself, who you are, where you are at the moment.
Uh, First of all, hi, Jarek. Thank you very much for invitation once again. I'm one of the youngest oblates. I'm the youngest oblate here in Ireland and in the UK, and I joined the province here. It's called the Anglo-Irish Province because we have altogether four countries: Ireland, England, Scotland, and Wales. And I joined the province more or less 2 years ago. I was ordained around 3 years ago, spent some time in Poland, and then moved to Ireland, to Dublin. And I'm spending here, like I told you before, 2 years, almost 2 years now. And we are here as the province, one of the oldest parts of Oblate world, if you like. In fact, maybe that's kind of interesting fact. Sheldon will say that Saint Eugene the Mazenot visited our province, visited London and Dublin himself. And here in Inchicore, that's the oldest place where the oblates are without any break from the very beginning, from the 50s of the 19th century. And St. Eugene had his mass here before the big church, Mary Immaculate Church, was built. St. Eugene celebrated here just outside, just like this, at the first mass. And that's how the oblates came to Ireland. Yeah, so it is very, very privileged place, if you would ask me, to be in and to spend the time with the people here.
That's excellent. I'm jealous because Saint Eugene never visited Canada, even though we're the first mission, but it was way too far for him when he was the bishop in Marseille. But he sent Father Tompier as a visitor, so at least the second in charge was here visiting. You can just mention to those who are watching. You can post your comments and questions. We will see them, and we have already a little welcome from Father Richard. Great to see you, Jarek and Dominik. He's our provincial vicar for the province, and as well, he's on vocation team for OMI Lacombe, Canada.
Great to see you. Great to hear you.
It's great to see you all. Tell me a little bit about your vocation story. I remember a number of years ago when we went with the youth for youth conference. We're just sitting around the circle, and one of the leaders just asked me, "Father, tell us your vocation story." And I have to pause for a moment. What are you actually asking? What's my vocation story? And then make me think about it, and I realize how that developed over time. But tell us your vocation story.
Well, probably it's very complicated, like yours, likewise. But there are a couple of things I will just flash memories which come to my mind when I'm thinking about the vocation story. The first one would be this, that I shared with the Oblates this afternoon when we had the online meeting as well. How it happened that I joined the Oblates, one asked, and I said that actually, and who was the, do I have any memory of the Vocations Director? There is a function like this. You are the Vocations Director, right? In your province in Lacombe there. So I told them, they all laughed because I told them that, well, as a, almost graduating from the high school, I was going to one of the Oblates, Father Christopher, and I was going to tell him, "No, thank you very much, I'm not joining the Oblates whatsoever. God bless you, bye-bye." And we had a chat for 35 minutes. And then after the chat, I said, "Oh my God, by all means, I'm joining only the Oblates of Mary Immaculate. If something around the religious life, only the Oblates." So that was my first
did you grow up
encounter.
in the Oblate parish? I remember you mentioned to
Not
me
at
that.
all, not at
No.
all. That was
So where are you from?
I'm from Poland, near to Poznan. It's Western Poland,
Okay.
and I grew up in the diocesan parish. That was a very normal life in a town, suburban town. So it was very, very easy to live in. And then in the high school, I met the Oblates.
Okay.
Then also, maybe it's good to mention, when I saw the Vocations Director and later on the Oblates, there was one big thing which struck my mind, and my vision as well. That was the Oblate cross. That was
Okay.
something.
Oh,
Wow,
yes.
what's that? What's that? I want to have this. It was it
Yeah, the
changed
Oblate
its
cross is
color.
very significant. It's really,
It
really
is.
stands
It
out
is.
there.
It
Yeah.
is. But it really struck me that moment, that very first moment.
So when did you decide that, like, make the decision? Okay, that's it. Like, I know that this is my call, my vocation. Like, did you have it like clearly in your mind? Oh, yeah, that's it. Like, I know it, or it's kind of developed. How did that happen?
It developed throughout the years, but I would say that there was a willingness to try to become a priest. That was my general thing. And if something will happen, then I just leave. Simple as that.
Yeah.
I just try. But on my way of this discernment, thinking about becoming a priest, I met the Oblates. And couple of encounters. One of them, with the Vocations Director, and then I learned, and I thought that it's better to try the Oblates first, because then I can leave and and I can continue the journey of my life, or at least do something else. And I had this way of thinking for first couple of weeks. I wasn't so
Mhm.
sure. I didn't know really about the Oblates, about their background, about Saint Eugene the Mazenot, about the mission zeal, about the Oblate spirituality, about anything whatsoever. So these were my first couple of weeks of the novitiate, if you like.
Mhm.
But everything changed afterwards. In the novitiate, I learned so much about Oblate lifestyle, Oblate history, Oblate heritage. I was just, God, what's that? I was so amazed.
How
And
did you enjoy the novitiate? I remember my first impression driving up that hill on the Holy Cross, and scary. I mean, that was right in the middle of the mountain, of the middle of the forest, and we hardly have water there. It was always breaking, and have to carry the water in the buckets, and lots of stories about hunted by different ghosts because the Holy Cross was placed on the consecration camp and the prison, and it was a scary place. But I appreciate that here. What was your impression
yeah,
of the novitiate?
yeah, that's the original, I would say, the special
Yeah,
one as well, spirit of the novitiate in Poland, because the place is really, really significant, very old, over 1,000 years, when the Benedictine monks lived before, and
that's right.
like you mentioned, bad stuff in the history happened as well. Russian and German soldiers camped there for years. But yeah, very, very extraordinary place. Hard, I would say. The novitiate there was hard.
Yeah.
It was a beautiful experience. I wouldn't go there for the second time.
That would be a challenge, certainly.
Yeah,
I have,
yeah, yeah.
as we continue, I want to welcome those of you who are joining us, and we have as well Eleanor is watching. Eleanor is one of our Oblates associates. She's in Ottawa, and believe it or not, we are reaching out farther beyond just Canada and Ireland. Here is Luisa, who is watching us from Namibia. So welcome, Luisa. It's great to have you here. So as we continue, Dominik, like you went to Poland to the seminary, and where did you decided to go to Ireland? Like how that happened?
Mm, well, it happened actually maybe around first or second year of my studies. So we had the novitiate, which was around 1 year, and then 6 years of studies, and around actually the beginning of my journey there, about around my studies, I decided that I don't want to stay in the country of my origin. I want to do something more, because that's what I told to myself. If I want to be just a priest, let's just be a diocesan priest. But I want to be an oblate. I want to be a missionary. I want to do something more and something about the people who will wait for me, who will just welcome me with open hands and hearts. And at the same, yeah, that's the first thing which developed within myself. And afterward, secondly, I also learned more and encountered a couple of times the oblates from this province, from Anglo-Irish Province. Plus, um, part of my family is living around in England. So all of this came together at the same time, more or less, I would say, And but this way of thinking was in me all the time. If I want to be just a priest working in the parish, let's leave it. Let's go it's better to be just the diocesan priest and to be close to my mommy and daddy, But if I want to be a real oblate, I want to do something meaningful. So and that was in me all the time. In fact, in the seminary, we used to have this little communities, little groups of the students doing something together, praying together for something, and it happened that we've been together and maybe around 8 to 10 people in the missionary group, and we've been thinking and sharing and talking all the time about doing something, going abroad, going somewhere else. Sometimes it wasn't just about going abroad, because the mission and the oblate zeal to do something special is not just about working in the different country, but also it's about doing something else. Thinking about the people who are not always identified with this normal broad church presence or supervision or help. And there are plenty of groups and areas where still there is, like, people are crying out to do something, and now, especially now, it's the communications, it's the whole presence online. It's
That's
what
right.
you're doing as well. People are starving for good news, and also, like Luisa mentioned in the comment there, not only to just be happy together, but the prayer. The young people are also starving to spend the time together and to pray together. Like, yeah, youngsters, to listen to the call. You're absolutely right, Luisa, and you get it, and we all are getting it. And please God that young people will also find some people around them to be encouraged to do something meaningful, to do
That's
something more.
right. As you're talking about this communication and going beyond just the walls of the church, I know you're involved in a relatively new, I think, project that you have. It's called Social Oblate. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so in the province here, when I say the province, I mean, the oblate little world in England and in Ireland. Okay, that's our
Hmm.
province. So in the province, for now a couple of years now, 3-4 years, we are developing this whole new project, mission. That's how we should call it, the mission of our presence, oblate presence online. And I was and I am engaged in that, being the part of this. But and we have great people, lay people who are doing so much and so good stuff out there online. just to mention Rebecca, or Lisa, together with us, with the Oblates. So we are doing this thing, and I came to think also last year, let's do something, from my own perspective as the Oblate, and that's how the social Oblate came, on board. And simply enough, it's the video blog. Now we are on YouTube and on Spotify. It's called The Social Oblate, and but then I needed some tools to make some videos or do whatever, kind of money. You need to start with something. And so I talked with Vocations Director in our province, Father John McFadden, a great Scottish man, and he said that he can help, from this vocation perspective also. So I said, okay, so we are going to release two sort of materials for the first day of each month and for the 17th. And you see, in 17th in our province is the day when we pray all together for the new vocations and for those in the world who are already on the way of discerning their vocation. So I said that, okay, you're helping us with dealing with so basic stuff like buying the new camera or so. So we will do the materials on the vocations every 17th. Each month, and then on the first, there will be something about Oblate lifestyle, Oblate spirituality, Oblate history, and that's simply that,
Yeah. You can follow the Oblate page, Facebook page from the Anglo-Irish Province. It's the Oblates. It's very easy to find them. So, and you will really enjoy those videos. When you're talking about the cameras and the challenges of technical pieces, like I remember almost a year ago, we went with the masses online. We talked about it all the time, like shouldn't we maybe record the masses or homilies? But when we went into lockdown, that wasn't any more question. We just went online with the masses streaming live. And I remember first mass was streamed just on the iPhone, and never realized that the iPhone has filters. So I had googly eyes for couple of minutes. But I hear what you're saying. It's cost. If you want to do it in you need the equipment for it. Tell me,
exactly.
as we are chatting about the vocation, you mentioned Father John and vocation team. Like, how vocations look like in England, in Ireland? Are there everybody like knocking at the door, and you have to kind of find a place for them, where to find them, or like what's the situation with the vocations?
Not at all. Not at all. On the contrary. Well, the situation with the vocations in Ireland and the UK, speaking about the Oblate world, is very challenging. That's how I would describe it. It's very, very challenging. And thanks be to God, we have a very good young lad who joined our pre-novitiate this year, and we are very, very thankful to God and to himself that he said yes to this gift of vocation and discernment of vocation, because that's what the pre-novitiate and novitiate is all about. So, but it's not so easy. It's not so easy. You see, people are so much engaged in different kind of things, in different parts of life, activities, that it's not so easy to find the time to think about what God is asking me, to do. It's not just about asking me, because that's maybe wrong approach. Actually, maybe I should rather say to what God is inviting me, what kind of journey God is inviting me. It's not easy to answer to that, not easy. That's why I believe young people are in great need of good companions, of life.
Yeah. Being a company on the journey of life, and that quite often came up from Pope Francis to accompany young people on the journey. And
indeed.
As you were saying, you have one candidate in the pre-novitiate. How that works from the perspective of formation, vocations? Like here in Canada and US, we have making the effort for formation as a region, because there's not as many that one province could have their own seminary or their own novitiate. So we are doing here in Canada and US as a one region. How that happens in your province or in the region? Or do you have like a
Exactly.
centralized formation, or everybody does their own? Like how that
Yeah,
work
so
there?
as you very well know, I suppose, and just to explain to our friends, to our Oblate family listening to this, we have the international scholasticates, the seminaries, if you like, and one of them is two of them actually are in Italy, in Rome, and in Marino, and the community of the novitiate there and pre-novitiate. And then we have also a scholasticate in Poland, and these are like more international scholasticates rather
Mhm.
than just nationalized one cultural thing, which is very important, especially now because, as you very know as well, the whole oblate world, we are going into this change in our mindsets and thinking that just on our own. It's not like that anymore. It's more
Yeah.
about being intercultural and understanding that we are one family. So on this formation level, it also, I would say, it works this well, that rather speaking about just ourselves, we're trying to share with others. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
that's one
But
thing that when you mention in inculturation, like this is becoming more and more reality across the oblate world. Like even here in Canada, I remember the concept like years ago. The concept was inculturation. So you're coming to the new mission, you coming to the new country, and you try to learn about the culture and try to fit in. Which the understanding has changed right now. We are more talking about interculturation when you're learning from each other, when you appreciate different cultures, and especially
indeed,
here in Canada, which is the mosaic of cultures is huge, and even with the oblates, like we have French oblates, English oblates, we have oblates coming from other countries, and sometimes it's a challenge to live in the house when you have two, three different cultures, experiences, but at the same time, it's truly a blessing and joy. And I think you have in your community as well. There's some experience of that interculturality, right?
oh, exactly, exactly. That's exactly what I'm thinking about as well. Because you see, in our house here in Dublin, I'm living with Father Leo. Leo is a great oblate from England, but originally Leo is from Sri Lanka. And we also have plenty of young oblates from all around the world. So just to mention Eduardo, Father Eduardo is from Mexico, and he's working and living in Dublin, in Dandale. And in the UK, you have Irvin, and Father Irvin is from the Philippines, and he's doing a great job in Edinburgh, in Scotland. And we have great oblates in Wales and in England. So in Wales, you have Father Vimmel. Vimmel is originally from Sri Lanka as well, although he worked for a couple of years in Italy, serving with people coming to Italy from Sri Lanka. And you have also Johnson, and Johnson is a great oblate who's originally from India, and currently he's living and working very well and passionate in London. You see, so it is a great job. In fact, also our province is somehow associated with our international scholasticate in Africa
Mhm.
and Sedara. And we also have the students from time to time who are coming here for the Regency program for 1 year, more or less,
Oh yeah.
of changing the sites and being here as well in our missions and parishes. So it is a great deal. And like you said, that's exactly how you described it. It's not that some oblate is coming from different country, and other brothers and sisters are telling him now, oh, here we do this
Yeah,
this
this
way.
way. This
No,
way.
it doesn't work like this. It's that we are living together and we are learning from each other, and we are accompanying each other, and that's why we are so rich in our
So true.
oblate perspective. Yeah, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's so true. There's so much to love about the Oblate charisma, and as well as we shared it with the Oblate associates. Before I ask you
Mm.
the question, I just want to encourage all of you who are watching right now. If you have any questions, about the oblates, about the oblate life, or about personal question to Father Dominik, or how the things are happening in Ireland and Britain, just please post it in the comments. We will see that and we will address it as soon as possible. But I want to ask you the question from the oblate perspective. So you've been an oblate how many years now?
Um, Counting all of the years during my studies as well, because I've been the oblate then as well. It's almost 10 years now.
So that's a great experience already. But how would you describe if a young man comes to you and asks you, like, tell me, what are the biggest joy, the biggest blessing to be an oblate priest? But as well, what is the biggest challenge that you find as an oblate priest?
Okay, I would find for each one of these two, I would find more than just one. But let's begin
You
from the
can
word
name them as
community.
many as you want.
The community. The community is the first blessing of the oblate lifestyle. Like, if there wouldn't be any community around me, as the oblate family, as oblate brothers here and now, but also as the oblate community and family, speaking much wider, even all of you
Mhm.
participating and listening to our conversation, you are all the members of oblate family. So oblate family, oblate community, that's the first blessing for me. I wouldn't join the oblates if I would know that I will spend my whole life just on my own and just myself, living just alone. I wouldn't join the oblates. I joined the oblates because I wanted to share my life with other oblates, and that's always something I'm thankful for. But at the same time, it's a challenge. It's not that everything is and will be always up to just myself. It's about others as well, But that's a good and that's a tricky question as well, because all of our lives, not only being an oblate, is just about myself. Being a wife, being a husband, being a good children of your parents, whoever you are, being a student, whatever you are doing, never our lives is just about ourselves. Our lives should always be about just more just than ourselves, about others. So yeah, and the same an oblate way of living, yeah, but
Great.
at the same time it comes the great reward with the living in the community. Really, it's a blessing.
It's very interesting when you pointed out there, because our province is currently going through the process of discernment, and we do that in a synodal way, as Pope Francis invites us. So we have the conversation with all the oblates, and these days it's actually easier to do it because we can connect online and to do like a Zoom meetings and have a conversation what is important for each one of us, and with oblate associates as well. And the community, I think this was the main topic that was coming up all the time: how much we appreciate community, how community is very important for our mission and in life. But as well, we realize that the community doesn't happen on its own. Like, each one of us has to make the choice and make an effort to build community. So it's a joy and blessing on one level, but a challenge on the second level, which is interesting. Well, depending how you look at that, it can be a blessing, but as well required an effort. So Dominic,
Yes.
one more thing I would like to ask you. Like, what would be your advice to the young men who are maybe thinking about religious life, priesthood, wondering what to do with their life? What would be your advice? What would you encourage them to do? How to discern and how to bring them to the oblates?
Yeah, it's not easy, and every one of us, um, each one of us, have our own and particular way how God is calling us. So my way of recognizing my vocation is not the way how you did and developed your vocation. And so, from this perspective, each one of us is unique on his and her own. But there are some common things which we share. Like, talking with someone always helps, and speaking the truth. If someone asks me about any, doubts and thinking about the future and his own life, I always say, just say whatever is in your heart to someone else who cares, who really cares. Talk
It's a
about it.
journey.
Yeah,
It's really a
talk
journey.
about it.
We have Father Richard posted comment as we are talking about the community, and I think he really captured that conversation that is happening in the province. So thank you, Dominik, for your reflection on community. That is what attracts so many of us to the Oblates, and it's so true. But here in Canada, and that's a challenge, especially in the north, we lived alone so often for the sake of the mission, because many places in the north they're very isolated. And I remember in the history, the Oblates building community in the north, they would go on the shortwave radio and they would talk to each other on the radio. Right now they use Zoom and internet. So even though you live alone, you try to bring that community together. And that's one of our challenges, is to recapture that sense of community and sharing the life of community. We have actually one of the Oblates who is in the north, in the northern Quebec. Father Ali has joined us as well, wishing us a very happy feast day of consecrated life. And he's doing an amazing job. I actually spoke with him as well at one of the Vocations Café. And the inculturation for him when he's working with the indigenous people up north, in new people there, doing an amazing job and truly being the witness. Luisa as well
Thank you
mentioned
for
here.
good wishes.
Luisa as well mentioned about the community, and it seems like this is the one thing that attracts so many, not only the oblates, but as well the oblate associates, those who are attracted to the charism, who are just passionate about what Saint Eugene did and what Saint Eugene passed on to us, and it's great to see that. So I want to thank you for being here, to having a cup of coffee with me, and as we chat about vocations. And thank you to all of you who join us online. This will be available as well on the Facebook page, so you can share it, you can rewatch it, you can keep positive comments. We won't see them live, but they will be there, and we can check it out later on. And the conversation continues. Vocations are something that we want to talk, be accompany, as Dominik said earlier, accompany others. So the next Vocation Cafe will happen in a couple of weeks, and I'll be talking with our seminarian, Joshua Nash. He is the seminarian in Australia, and actually, interestingly, today he went into a retreat as he's preparing for his final vows. So when I connect with him in a couple of weeks on Monday, February 15th, he will be perpetually vowed oblate already. Hopefully, he will show us his cross, because we received those big oblate crosses during the perpetual vows. So that will happen on Monday, February 15th at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, which is like next day in Australia. So that was a challenge to set it up, but we set it up. So thank you again, Dominik, for being here. And thank you to all of you who joined us and watched. We're very privileged that you are here with us. And
thank you, Jarek. Thank you, Jarek, very much for the invitation. And I send the greetings from all the Oblates and Oblate family from this part of the world to each one of you who are watching this our conversation. And we keep you in our prayers, and young people who are the same day vocation, whatever way you are currently thinking about. We keep you every single day in our prayers, and you are never ever alone. Okay, and that's what we can promise you.
Thank you for that, and let's keep continuing courage and pray for Oblate vocation. So God bless you all. Thank you.
Indeed. Praise be Jesus Christ.